I also stuck a box to the wall, by the way. I have a video of that. I haven't put it up yet. And he's like, hey, I want this to taste like chocolate. He looks at me, goes, make it taste like chocolate. I'm like, I can't do that. And he's like, yeah, you can, just do it. So I'm like, I don't know. I'm looking at it. I'm going, chocolate, thinking about chocolate. And I'm like, finally, I felt like whatever I was going to do, I've done it. Like it's done. I'm like, I don't know if it's worked, but I'm done doing it. And so he takes a sip and he goes, oh my God, it tastes like chocolate. I'm like, no, it doesn't give me that. And then I take a sip and I'm like, oh my gosh, it tastes like chocolate.
Nikki, were able to change the taste of whatever chocolate. Wow, that is mind-boggling. Nikki, so Fazio gave you a rash with his chi?
I gave him a rash.
Oh, you gave him a rash with your with your own chi.
Yeah, here. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm familiar with. I mean, I do Neigong. I have a Neigong practice outside of the school because the school is also.
What you're referring to, Mr. Cabell's Neigong?
No.
Oh, it's separate.
Yeah, a Jerry Allen Johnson picture of the $50 I stuck to the wall with Fazio.
No, is it on Instagram? What do you make of Stefan? I mean, obviously you're a powerful energy person, you're a meditator, but Stefan's just using mental programming to do all this stuff.
To me, I also
wait, you spent $50,000 to learn a simple technique?
Well, I mean, there were other things on the way, but they didn't teach you this simple thing until like the third year. I really agree with you. It isn't meant to be a 3-day certification.
It's a money grab. I mean, let's be real. Reiki is a money grab. I mean, like it's became a money grab. Like, hey, I have this cool certification. Like, I'm a healer now. It's became a title more than anything. Like I paid someone. I have this title. That's what it is. Why is 21-day fast and meditation not the requirement to become a Reiki master? I'm sorry for being so blunt,
No,
I really think it's a big problem. Like when you rationally stop and think about it. Okay, so today we are here with a wonderful guest, Miss Nikki Williams. She's a very powerful telekinetic, but also known as a blindfold person. She's appeared on Caesar's show along with Mr. Freeman, and she's just part of this little community where we kind of know each other all, and I heard so many amazing stories about her, and today I wanted to get to know her more in detail and hear her story. So Nikki, could you tell me how you got started in your spiritual journey?
Wow, that's a loaded question. That it started actually many years ago, and it started because of medical issues. So I was wrongly diagnosed by the medical community with AIDS, ALS, MS, carotid arteries 75% occluded, and throat cancer. All wrong. And so, that's a lot of stress. And I felt like I was failed by the medical community. So I started doing research on my own, which brought me to healing modalities. So many, many years ago, I started, working with energetic healing. And I have a dragon and tiger qigong practice, which I've been doing for a while. And we're in that same school together, so I'm doing the
For the record, Nikki, you trained with was it Bruce Francis or Paul Cabell? I can't remember last time.
Well, I mean, I actually trained on my own, but I trained under Paul Cabell.
Yeah. Oh, okay, Paul Cabell. Right. Excellent. Yeah. Later, I'll get to hear more about your experience, perhaps with like Mr. Cabell's training. But just for the record, for the audience, that she's also a member of the School of Chi Energy, where I'm currently trained. Well, I'm hoping to be back in here soon with Siva Cicero. So link in the description, by the way. But anyways, go carry on with your story.
So that's what really got me started. But as far as, and I've been psychic, and I'm a psychic medium, and that's been ongoing. But really, until I did Mindsight at Rob's seminar in January of this year, I had never done telekinesis, and I didn't do it at that seminar either. It was until the seminar in May, where I was a facilitator. that I attended a telekinesis kind of workshop that was part of that event. And so I started, I mean, it was just, I just did it. And I think it was, I think it's easy because I've worked with energy for so long. So for me, it's just kind of intuitive. Like it just happens, right? But then all this other crazy stuff happened alongside it, with, you know, remote viewing and out of body stuff. And you saw with Chris, with Fazio, did you see his rash that I gave him?
No.
Oh my gosh, you missed that whole thing. Yeah, he was like bothering me about, he's like, come on, like you've got to do something that I can see, because you know, healing, you could attribute that to many different things if you heal someone, right? He's like, so reverse heal me, give me a rash. And I was like I felt kind of uncomfortable with that because I'm used to healing people, not hurting them, right? And so I did, though. I mean, I have a picture. I don't know if it'll show up on video. It was insane.
Nikki, so Fazio gave you a rash with his
No,
chi?
I gave him a rash.
Oh, you gave him a rash with
Yeah,
with your own chi.
yeah. Here. I don't know if you can see this, but can you?
Oh, no, I know about this. No, why I forgot. How did I forget about it? Yeah, we talked about it last time.
Yeah,
We also,
yeah. And then I took it away, of course, you know, because I don't want to. But I mean, but that was something that it had never occurred to me to do. And the other thing that we did, which was mind blowing, is we were at a friend's house before I was leaving for the airport, and she made us these drinks, which was seltzer water and fruit juice. And he's like, "Hey, I want this to taste like chocolate." He looks at me, goes, "Make it taste like chocolate." I'm like, "I can't do that." And he's like, "Yeah, you can, just do it." So I'm like, I don't know. I'm looking at it. I'm going, chocolate. You know, thinking about chocolate. And I'm like, finally, I felt like whatever I was going to do, I've done it. Like it's done. I'm like, I don't know if it's worked, but I'm done doing it. And so he takes a sip and he goes, "Oh my God, it tastes like chocolate." I'm like, "No, it doesn't, give me that." And then I take a sip and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it tastes like
Nikki,
chocolate." And then our friend was like, "Nah." And she takes the sip and she's like, "No, dudes, it's chocolate."
is
I'm
your
like,
friend that you're? Is it Olivia that you're talking?
Olivia,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, cool, yeah. Okay, cool. Wait, so just to clarify, so you Nikki were able to change the taste of whatever
Yeah.
to chocolate. Wow, that is mind-boggling. That
Yeah,
is
and I thought, okay, well,
incredible.
this is, you know, I'm famous for being kind of like one and done. I can do something really good and then it just goes away. So I'm like, well, I don't know. And when I went home, I was like, well, I'm going to change this water and make it taste lemony and not tell anybody. So I did it with my own family. And I was like, you know, lemoning the water, you know, and then they're drinking and they're like, and they've got this look on their face and they're like, do you put something in the water? I'm like, no, it's just water from the tap. And they're like, it tastes like sour. I was like, oh, and you know, then they all know me and they just kind of looked at me and they're like, were you doing something? I was like, yeah, I was.
Yeah, we hear stories from the Bible about how Jesus can turn like water to wine or something like that. Like, I mean, it's crazy how like a lot of this stuff is just becoming common for us all now. Like it's just pretty
Yeah.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah, it truly is amazing. But you know, it's not magic, it's possibility.
Right,
It's
right.
possibility. And I do feel like it has to do with the energetic field. And you know, I don't mean to sound trite or whatever, but being connected. About 5 years ago, I had this meditation. I actually wasn't planning on meditating. I was listening to some binaural beats, and just kind of zoning out. I wasn't attempting to meditate, but for a brief second, I had this, I guess, vision of this web stretching out, me included in it, and I was connected to everything. And for a brief moment, I knew, and this is going to sound stupid, I knew the answer to everything. And it shocked me so much that I went, and I came out of it. And it must have been, I mean, I don't even think it was a second, but it never left me, that feeling of, I will never be lonely again because I am connected to everything. So when I do these energetic things, I feel like I don't push energy. I don't force, even when healing. A lot of healers are like, oh, feel the heat. I'm pushing. I'm like, I offer, like you just offer to the field. And so anything that I'm doing, I'm kind of like, hey, play with me. Everything has a level of isness. Like it is sentient at some level, conscious at some level, rocks, everything, right? And so like even with the mind sight, you know, I ask the shapes, come on, play with me. Like, will you show me what you are? And it works because we're connected, right? And
Right.
so when you connect with the water and you say, hey, you know, let's play a game. It works.
Right, right. Yeah, well said. Nikki, I want to go back to a little bit on the enlightenment experience, so to speak, where you felt like you know everything. I don't know if that's the correct term or not, but could you describe that a little bit more in detail? So, what was it like to feel like you know everything? Like, were you seeing visions and things like that, or was it just like dark, or did you just were you just getting downloads like answers about like questions that you had about things? Could you
No,
describe
I
that?
wish it was that. I wish it was that. The web I saw, like I could see, but like so my clairs, and I know you're familiar with the clairs, right? You know, I'm usually a knower. I just know things, right? But I did see the web. I mean, I saw it. It was clear, and it was just everything in the world was connected. It was like I was, including myself. I mean, I was part of that, and then I just knew that it can't possibly touch how amazing of an experience it was, but I just knew everything. Of course, I didn't know anything when I came out of it. I was like, what was that? Like I just knew I had all the answers. Like
Wow.
I knew I had all the answers. And I do feel like it was really telling me I still have all the answers. I'm
Wow.
just not tapped into them. We as modern humans don't go inside. Like we seek all of our answers on the outside. And we don't seek connection like we used to. Like we used to gather in front of fires, and now we gather in front of screens. And,
Right, right. Well said.
you know, we don't have that same connection with one another. And that
Right.
connection is so important. And I think in doing any of this work, you know, whether you just want to play and discover your own abilities, or if you want to use it to help others, or however you want to do it, it's that connection that makes it happen.
Right, right. Yeah, well said, Nick. I know what you mean. I love what you said about we're not so connected anymore. We're connected via the web. I mean, like I'm grateful for the internet. I mean, truly I am, because like otherwise I won't know wonderful people like Dahlia or your Stefan, you know, or Sifu Jones, Sifu Sister, whoever. Like it's all thanks to the internet that we were all connected. But at the same time, I mean, like, you know, we're not connected either. We're not seeing each other in person and stuff. And I know what you mean. Like it's very strange. This modern society is very strange, and like social media, like the interactions are, you know, very weird. Like I'll, you know, like sometimes when you're texting people or sometimes when you're messaging people, it just feels like communication is just not what it used to be, and that there's just a disconnect. You know, so I know what you mean. It's very weird modern world we're living in. Um, but I want to go back to the web you saw a little bit. Was
Yeah.
this sort of like a spider web of like a sacred geometric like spider web, so to speak, type of thing where you're seeing things connected? Like I've heard I think I'm pretty sure I heard a similar story like that in the past. Is that what you pretty much
It
saw?
was a very geometrical hexagonal kind of net, hex net, I'd call it. And, you know, like since then, I've been gifted, I guess, with the ability to use geometry for healing.
Wow.
So, you know, I'm just now being public with that kind of knowledge. And so my own personal feeling is that there's a lot of greed in the healing arts industry. and people monetize everything. Now, don't get me wrong, we all need to make a living. So, so do I, right? But we don't need to make a ridiculous living. Do you know what I mean? And we need to make things accessible to everyone, not just to people who can afford it or who are willing to put themselves in a bad financial situation to afford it. And so that's always been my heart, but I'm very like, Fazio made me get on Instagram. He's like, you need to get out there because, and I hesitate because it is very much a look at me sort of thing. And I'm not a look at me kind of person. So I'm just kind of like, I like to be low key, just do my thing, right? But if this helps to reach people and give them some knowledge, like I spent $150,000 learning modalities. And
really?
Yeah. And one of the things that I learned was so simple. Anyone can do it. Some of the stuff I learned, you had to know anatomy, you had to know like traditional Chinese medicine, you could mess somebody up if you did it wrong. But a lot of the stuff that I learned, anyone can do. And it's a pain relief protocol that I give out. It was $50,000 before I learned that.
Wait. You spent $50,000 to learn a simple technique?
Well, I mean, there were other things on the way, but they didn't teach you this simple thing until like the third year. And it is so simple, but so profound. I call it the energetic Advil because it can take your pain away. Now, it doesn't fix the root cause. So you're not, but if you don't have to take a drug to relieve your pain, I had a client who had, he has only one kidney and it's a transplanted one. And he had surgery on his ankle, could not take any pain medicine because of that kidney. And so he'd been a long-term client of mine. I said, I'll come to your house and I'll take care of you. Don't worry. So his pain was an 8 out of 10 by the time I got there. When I left, it was a 2. I taught his wife how to do it. I taught him how to do it. They could just do it. And they said he had no pain. Why are we putting that behind a paywall? Like, why are we doing that? Right.
So if you don't mind telling me, Nikki, what is this particular modality called again?
I don't want to say because
that. Oh yeah. I get it. I mean, yeah. I'm not gonna, but I will be honest though, Nikki. It sounds pretty effective, but like it does sound like it's kind of driven by greed type of sort of thing. Like I mean, like that's not. I mean, like 50,000 is like that's like a loan, not even a. Like a house, right, or something along those lines, right? I mean, that's pretty ridiculous.
It hurt me. It hurt me. I mean, this was over many years, right? So it's not like I just shelled it out all at once, but still, that's a lot of money, right? That I'm still.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could tell me off camera,
Yeah, but no, but I give it away because people need to have this knowledge. So I do little workshops that teach people about their own energy, and when I do that, I give away all these protocols. Because I'm like, you guys need this. Here's a free handout. My website, most of the stuff is free because why not? And so I'm getting ready to kind of release these geometric protocols. And I'm going to do it for free. Now I've used myself as my own lab animal and of course my family. So, something that was really profound for me, if I'm not just over talking, I could get going. You need to shut me up.
No, absolutely. Please tell me more.
But so I tore my meniscus in my right knee and it's healed, but I have like tendonitis on the side of it now. And where I live, it's very hilly. And I decided I'm going to go for a walk. Well, I'm walking down these hills. Up is no problem. Down, it really hurt. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is bad. And so I did some geometry in my knee, 0 pain. Right. 0. And I had to tweak it because the first time I walked down one hill and I was like, it went from like a 7 to maybe a 5. I was like, that's not good enough. And then I tweaked it some more and then it went to a 3. And then I tweaked it some more and it went 0. And then I was worried like, well, when I get home, okay, I made the pain go away, but was I messing up my knee while I did all that walking? I didn't have any pain the rest of the day. It was profound.
Wow.
And
could you tell me a little bit more? So are you like projecting? Are you like visualizing sacred geometry or something like that, and projecting to the area that you're? Is
Well,
that kind of how it works roughly, or?
yeah, I can tell you exactly what I did for that. So all geometry is sacred because math and geometry underlie all of reality. That's my philosophy. It's, and I had some help coming to that conclusion, right, through meditation downloads, whatever you want to call it. But so it doesn't have to be like the flower of life, or we don't have to get stuck on those patterns because you can just use regular shapes. So for me, what I did was on the side, so it was the lateral right side of the knee, I put a cube. So cube squares are stability. So I needed stability on that side. So I put a cube and I made it blue-green for anti-inflammatory. And then I did a spiral from the cube down all the way down the side of my leg to the ankle. So it anchored it. Okay, so then that took it from like a 7 to a 5, but then the pain shifted to the front of my knee, which makes biomechanical sense because you've taken the weight that was on the side of the leg and you've shifted it to the front. So I placed a triangle pointing downward underneath the patella in blue for anti-inflammatory, and that just took it away. And then I expanded, I stopped and I made everything heftier and bigger and stronger. And I spent more time, like I spent a minute thinking about it before I went down the hill, and then it was good.
Very, very cool. Okay, okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I had a feeling you were very knowledgeable with this type of stuff, but man, like you have a wealth of knowledge. I mean, I'm not surprised though. You said you spent $150,000, which is a
Well,
lot of money.
that's not where I got the knowledge. Those are all just, reflexology, all of, I'm an herbalist. I'm all of those things. Like they're just very normal run of the mill modalities, Reiki, all of that stuff. Also, I'm leaving out where I learned that one protocol because if I do, I don't want to, smear anyone's name or anything. But that
Right.
was the big spend. That was really the big spend. But it was going to school for all those different things. I mean, I'm an aromatherapist, but I went to a school where you learned chemistry. It wasn't like this smells nice. It was learning all the chemical constituents of plants so that you could use, essential oils in a competent way, right? In a medicinal way. So it's not your typical, it was a 2-year school.
Excellent.
So, like all of that took time, but this is coming from, it stems really from that experience 5 years ago. And since then, things have built on it. So I've had other experiences where I've gotten information and I'm using it. And I started using it on myself, but then I'm like, well, that could be placebo because I believe in it, right? Which I have no problem with placebo, to be honest. If it works, it works. Who cares? No side
Right.
effects. Great. But I thought, well, I'm going to, I want to make sure it's not. So using my own family as guinea pigs as I do, my husband has bone on bone arthritis in his ankle. And it typically hurts him a lot. And he's too young for an ankle replacement and blah, blah, whatever. And so I usually ask him, like, how's your ankle? Give me a number, and it's not unusual for me to do that. So I went into his office. He works at home. And I was like, so how's your ankle today? And he's like, oh, it's about a 4. And I'm like, yeah, it's not too bad. And when I'm in there, I'm placing some geometry in his ankle, right? And I walk out and I sit down and go about my business. And he comes out like 45 minutes later, he's making coffee. And I come out like, hey, how's your ankle? And he goes, did you do something to me? He's like, there's no pain. And I'm like, yes. And then Fazio was my guinea pig too, because he had a stomach issue and I just did some geometry on him and he goes, oh my God, it's gone. And I'm like, yay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, since you brought that up, since you brought Fozzie up, I guess this is the perfect opportunity to ask you a few more questions. So you obviously spent a lot of money, learning from different teachers and stuff. We mentioned earlier about Mr. Cavell and like learning Qi work and Qigong and such. Is that the only Qigong system you trained under? Have you trained under other Qigong systems, or is
No, just Dragon and Tiger. But I did Dragon and Tiger before I knew of Paul Cavell, so I kind of did it on my own. But then,
Oh,
yeah, then I saw him, like I kind of researched Bruce Francis and then Paul Cavell, and he has an excellent online class that goes over Dragon and Tiger. And since I already knew it, the thing is, he's telling you, he layers his teaching, which is the right way to do it. Like most people are just like, follow this movement, but you're not. There's so many pieces, parts to it to make the energy move correctly. And he does all of that. And it's a water practice, which is
right. Could you tell me, so are you familiar with Kunlun Nigong at all in their water path modality?
No.
Oh, you're not.
I'm familiar with, I mean, I do Neigong. I have a Neigong practice outside of the school, because the school is also.
What you're referring to Mr. Cabell's Nigong?
No.
Oh, it's separate.
Yeah, a Jerry Allen Johnson.
So you trained under Mr. Johnson as well?
I didn't train under him, but I have his books and I've studied them.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. So you're familiar with me. Oh, very cool. Okay. I guess we can ask a little bit more about that, but I want to talk about the water path a little bit more. Could you? So in to your understanding, what is the water path from Mr. Francis's and Mr. Cabell's understanding in their system? What does the water path mean? Obviously, we're under a yin path as well. We try to be very soft and gentle with our chi projection and stuff like that. Could you tell me what the water path is in their definition, and what that is like?
Well, I hate to speak for them because I don't think I'd be a good speaker, but from what I perceive, it is, and of course, I've studied this way before meeting them, right? So, but my understanding, even from the way Paul teaches, is it's all easy and flowy. Water flows, right? Water is no resistance. You're not resisting anything. It's very yin, right? But also it's learning, and he puts an emphasis on this, and I think it's incredible, learning to feel energy. So he actually breaks that out of the movements and gives you exercises to learn to feel chi, which I think is, most people can't. I mean, that's my superpower is feeling stuff. So, so it's easy for me, but a lot of people, that doesn't come easy to. And so it's wonderful that, and that specific practice is all about feeling the energy. So Dragon and Tiger is about feeling the chi and feeling the movement.
Excellent. Okay. Could you tell me a little bit about your practice with Mr. Johnson a little bit? But by the way, in the future, if I could ever interview Mr. Johnson or Bruce Francis or Mr. Quill, that would be, amazing. I'm big fans of all three of these guys. Could you tell me what your experience is like with Mr. Johnson's system and his books and whatnot?
Oh, his books will blow your mind. Like, they are so. Have you looked at any of his books?
Well, I mean, just as YouTube, I've never read any of his. Well, have I? I might have a friend that, send me a PDF or something. Maybe I possibly, I don't know.
Yeah, they're very intensive. Like, I'm not stupid. and I read profusely, so it's not like oh, this is hard because I don't like to read or whatever, or it's too technical. I mean, I'm a journalist that writes about medical ethics. I understand like technical terms and that kind of stuff. So, but reading these books, like I've had to go back one page and read it like 3 or 4 times to understand. He gets way down into the very workings of medical qigong is what it is. But then, there's the inner alchemy part of that too, right? And the inner work. And I just gifted myself for Christmas his 4th book, which is prescriptive. So for different organ systems. And
right.
Yeah. And he actually talks about emitting chi, which is what Fazio does, right? Emitting chi, how to do it for different things. I told Fazio he needs the book.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. There's different Nigong lineages out there, but I mean, from my limited knowledge, Mr. Johnson is like the type of Nigong where it's like medical oriented. He's like the the foremost expert in that field. So yeah, certainly it's something that I definitely want to check out. But I'm obviously more known for interviewing the Fachi, the Fazio type of folks that do Nigong. So but I do believe that aspect of Nigong is definitely important. It certainly cannot be ignored. So yeah, definitely important stuff for sure. There's something else I wanted to ask you, Nikki. Oh yeah. So Nikki, you're obviously known as a phenomenal blindfold practitioner more than anything. Um, what would be your advice to people that have a hard time seeing? Like you mentioned being playful earlier. Is that about it, or could possibly qigong and nigong and all this kind of stuff help with this?
So I actually had a dear friend of mine say, "Oh, I want to do this. I want to be able to have all your, superpowers. What do I do?" And I'm like, meditate. That if you can do one thing, meditate. And my advice is always, look, don't make it into some big thing. I got to meditate for an hour every day. Consistency is more important than time spent. So if you have 5 minutes and you do 5 minutes every day, it's better than doing an hour once a week. And it doesn't matter what meditation you do. It doesn't matter. I have a whole thing on my website about meditation, and it's meditate and qigong. I mean, and actually I'm actually putting together some foundations for people that want to learn mindsight and telekinesis and can't afford to go to a workshop and all of that. And the things I'm going to start them out with is meditation and qigong. And because you're moving energy, you're starting to feel energy. Mindsight is, there's an energetic component to everything. When I do distance healing, it's quantum entanglement, or as Einstein would say, what spooky movement at a distance or whatever. And the same thing for telekinesis, it's entanglement. And I think mindsight is entanglement too. Like when I got back from that, where I learned that seminar that I learned at, I sat in the closet with my mask on, my eyes closed, and a shape taped to the other side of the door in the dark until I could see that shape through the door. And I was in there. My husband's like, "Where are you?" I'm like, "I'm in the closet." He's like, "What are you doing in there?" I'm like, "I'm trying to see through the door." And but it takes time. Like some people, like now it's effortless, right? But seeing through the door wasn't effortless at first. And it was just me trying to figure out what way was going to work for me, because we're all so individual. Like one size does not fit all. Each one of us has a certain capacity over other capacities, right? A certain thing that's going to resonate with us, a certain way that's going to be better for us. And so we have to find our unique way of connecting.
Absolutely. So meditation is the key to this.
Yeah.
What about telekinesis? Some people say, telekinesis, meditation isn't necessary. It's all about just chi building and, really learning to like project as much, chi out of your hands as possible or from your third eye. There's various different opinions. Do you feel the same way, or do you think it's the same thing? Like meditation is also the key?
Meditation is connecting. Like you're really connecting. You're becoming one, not to be trite, but that's what you're doing. You're becoming one with everything, right? So when I do telekinesis, I'm not projecting chi from my hands.
Oh, really?
And I'm not.
Yeah. I did just sort of cut you off, but I did notice that when I look at your Instagram demos, it's like you don't really I use like magnetism, so to speak, to like try and move stuff. I mean, I've done those ones where I just stare at them and try to move it and stuff. That style of telekinesis too, but it seems like you're not really using your hands. You're just more like staring.
Yeah. I don't move a lot, and I can do the mental thing too, where you're just looking at it. But what I'm really doing is I'm using geometry.
Wow.
So there's my Great.
That's huge. Like so then that could be a huge breakthrough for a lot of TK people out there, because I mean I've interviewed tons of telekinetic soldiers, probably more than anybody as far as I know in this industry. So you can like project, visualize geometry and project that into the paper or the foil to influence it, you think?
So let me tell you what I do, because I don't mind sharing.
Awesome. Yeah, please do. I think my audience will love this.
Yeah, everybody should have this. And it may resonate with some and not resonate with others. If it doesn't resonate with you, discard and do what does resonate with you, right? But when I'm trying to get the paper or the foil or whatever to spin and I have my hand near it or I'm close to it, I just imagine a spiral underneath it and I'm letting that spiral turn it. So I'm actually placing a thought form, and that's what meditation helps you do, is be better at thought forms, right? Creating things with your mind. And like I can create a string between my fingers that you could see if it would, well, you're trying to see, but I don't have anything dark. If I had something dark on, I could like let you see it. But it's a thought form. It's just a thought form, right? So I do a spiral, but if I'm across the room and want to use my mind, I actually take that spiral and go from my mind to I create a tunnel, like a spiraling tunnel from my mind to the paper and move it that way. And that's how I do telepathy too. Like I did that with my husband. I kind of freaked him out because we were driving down the road and I'm like, I wonder if I could do that and pull a thought out of his head. And I did a little tunnel to his head and I got the weirdest thing. And I was like, dude, are you thinking about weather stripping the garage? And he's like, what? Yes. And I was so excited.
Nikki, you just gave away how to do telekinesis at a very high level. This is gold. I'm gonna clip this part out. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna publish the long interview, but I'm definitely gonna clip this part out and title it like, expert. I must say something along the lines of expert, telekinetic reveals how to do telekinesis or something like that. Like this is like you just revealed gold, Nikki. This is
well, yay. I hope
going to be incredibly helpful. And obviously, link in the description, guys. Nikki's website, and her Instagram. Follow her. Nikki's amazing. Let's go. Yeah. So sorry. Before I ask more questions, like, is there any other telekinesis tips since you can give away since we're on the subject?
Sure. Did you see the picture of the $50 I stuck to the wall with Fazio?
No. Is it on Instagram?
I don't know if he put it. Yeah, I think I put it on mine. I might have put it on mine.
Let me look. But yeah, keep talking.
He saw me do it, so like I did it once myself, and I'm like, well, it doesn't count if no one sees it, because I mean, And so when he came in the room, I was like, let me show you what I can do, and I stuck it to the wall. So the way I do that is, and I really honestly did not know I could stick anything into the wall, except that at the Ogden census where I was a facilitator, I was helping some folks with their telekinesis, and Alex had made me watch Master Centeris, and he had stuck a paper to the wall and then he stuck a box to the wall, and I was talking to the folks that I was helping, and I was like, yeah, I had to watch this video last night, and some guy stuck a paper to the wall, and there was all these colored papers because we were doing MindSight. So I grabbed one. I'm like, I wonder if it'll work. That, and it stuck to the wall, and everybody freaked out, including me, because I was like, oh my God, I stuck it to the wall, right? And then we started sticking things to the wall, but that was a really heavy coin. So that was, to me, I also stuck a box to the wall, by the way. I have a video of that. I haven't put it up yet.
Is there any way you can send it to me? Is there any way I can share that with my audience?
Yeah, I can send it to you. Yeah, but I haven't. I haven't been able to do that again, or what do you call it? Repeat it.
Okay.
To me, it's not true until you can do it again.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you, but still, if even if you did it once, I mean, Nikki, that is incredible. Let's talk about this a little bit. what do you make of Stefan? I mean, like Stefan is not. I mean, I interviewed Stefan, Mr. Alex, few weeks ago or whatever. Phenomenal guy. Like, I mean, he's sending shot. I mean, I'm connected with the Nikon industry with lots of underground people. They ask me, they talk about Stefan. They tell me like, who's this dude that's like doing this crazy stuff? He's not a chi guy. How is he doing this? Like, it doesn't make sense, from their rational mind. What do you make of Stefan? I mean, obviously you're a powerful energy person, you're a meditator, but Stefan's just using just mental programming to do all this stuff. What do you make of that, and like what do you make of him? I mean, it's just so fascinating to me.
He's very focused. I mean, if you talk to him at all, you find that whatever he decides to pursue, he does it wholeheartedly with everything he has. Like he hyper focuses on it. And that's what meditation is, isn't it?
I think you gave away a huge clue, like he's maybe perhaps a lot more meditative than he comes across, or maybe than his messages, because his messages, we don't need all this chi practice. He gave this incredibly inspirational speech on my channel saying like, let's do away with all this chi stuff and let's just like focus on just belief alone. And that was a beautiful message, but maybe there's more to it than that. Maybe there's something to Stefan that's more like you said, like meditative, and that's more focused.
Well, and you don't have to do qigong to do any of this stuff, but qigong is wonderful for a lot of things. It's a lifestyle, right? And it's more than just. I think qigong really helps increase psi abilities because it's discipline, right? And it's discipline, and it's learning your body. It's learning, well, when you get into neigong, it's learning thought forms. That definitely helps, right? But you don't need that, and everybody is different. But I do think you need meditation, which is focus. Focus is all meditation is. But you did ask me, and I never did tell you about sticking the thing to the wall and how I did it.
Oh, so, yeah. So, sorry, we got distracted. Yeah, please tell me.
So I'll tell you. So if anybody wants to know, if they want to try it, I believe, and science proves, that nothing is really real. There's so much space in between molecules, right? There's like 99.9% air, it's free space. So when I put the coin on the wall, I just imagined that the molecules of the coin and the molecules of the wall were mixing together. And it stuck.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, I'm a TK guy, but to me, this sticking coins to the wall thing. I mean, like it still blows me away because I can't. I did it when I tried it when I interviewed Stefan too, but like I can't do it. Dahlia's like, I can do it. This is easy. Our last call with Fazio, when we were talking about Fazio's like, oh, that's easy, dude. I'm like, how are you guys saying this is easy? Like, it just, because like the psi wave, I mean, like you can understand, like you're projecting chi and stuff, and like, you're visualizing energy. The paper starts moving like that. You can kind of understand, but like, this just seems next level to me. But I mean, to you, this is just, basic to you now.
It's reality. It's just what reality is. Like, we don't think that reality is not, like, the human eye can only see like so little of what is actually around us. There's stuff all around us that we are not seeing. So tap into that. Use your imagination. Right? I mean, it was just my imagination. I was like, well, I know this thing about molecules, and there's a lot of space. And, I remember from college, can you believe it? I would remember back that far. But, like the professor saying, when you're sitting on the chair, you're really sitting in the chair because, and I'm like, well, why wouldn't that work for something on the wall? Boop. And then it did. But all that comes back to the fact that I have focus and belief, which is what Alex said, right?
Yeah, well said.
So it
Certainly.
kind of goes together. It's just a different way of saying it. And somebody will resonate with that way of hearing it. And the point is just to get everybody to hear the thing they need to hear so that they can succeed.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, that is certainly true. And yeah, I mean, we may yeah, I mean, like sometimes I think to myself, maybe like stuff like mind training, hypnosis, NLP, all this stuff is like totally different than like qigong or like meditations, but maybe they're kind of similar, like at the core level. Maybe there's something, you know, maybe at the spiritual level, at the spiritual in the spiritual realm, like the same thing is like maybe happening, possibly. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to describe that. But
No, I know what you're saying. Like underneath it all, there is a similarity. It's like underneath it all, we're all connected. We don't seem
right,
like we are,
right.
think we are, but underneath it all, we are. And so all of these things, all roads lead to Rome, right? All of these things
All
are
these
leading
things
to,
reach them.
yeah, to the same thing. But you can get there by different paths. You don't have to do qigong. You could do NLP. You're still focusing. You're learning how to focus, right? You could do anything that charges your imagination, and the more imagination you have, the more ability you have to create these thought forms that can actually manipulate the fabric of reality.
Certainly, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well said, Nikki. Um, so you're obviously training with my teachers right now. Could you tell me about that experience a little bit? And that how is our teachers different than like anything that you've previously trained in the past?
Well, they don't they or I train with Sifu Jones, so he doesn't say the word Neigong or Neidan, but that is what he is teaching because I know enough about it to know what I'm experiencing, right? So I think really his training has been very instrumental in helping me do some of this stuff because the thought forms are key, right? So being able to spin the snowballs or have the helicopters come out and, feel them in your body is important. But I will say this, I've given geometry to people who are like, I really don't have this visual thing. And I'm like, don't overthink it. Do what you can. Don't worry about it. It's the intention. And it works for them. So I don't know. I think it's more important with things like telekinesis, where you're actually like, I feel like I'm creating that spiral, right? I'm connecting with that spiral. But with other things, maybe it isn't that. I think we just have to experiment. And maybe that's what you are doing with all of these interviews and getting everybody's, opinions and experience all together. It gives your viewers all of these great choices, and they can say, "Wow, that makes sense to me. This not so much." But that's why we're here to give people what they need, right?
Yeah. What one thing I learned in my journey in doing interviews is even if people come from the same school, the same lineage, everybody's got a different perspective, slightly different perspective on how energy works, but like at the fundamental level, I feel like it's about relaxation and it's about, like getting into that, flow state, if you will. And like kind of like what we talked about earlier. It's just at the fundamental level, maybe it all kind of the same thing is happening, in the spiritual realm. But with that being said, though, it's just very interesting, like everybody, no matter what lineage they come from, even if the lineages are like, like beefing with each other, they're not like agreeing with one another or the systems or the schools or whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, no matter who it is, everybody's opinions are different. And that's the beautiful thing about this practice is, everybody's so different. And that's what makes us all special and unique. We're all special and we're all, powerful beings in our own ways. So, Nikki, you're obviously one of the most phenomenal practitioners in this industry. what is your goal as a practitioner? Do you want to get the point where maybe you can like, do CDs, like, like levitate your body and, like, or, teleport, like do invisibility. I know like Dahlia and Fozzie are working on invisibility currently and stuff. What is your personal goal right now?
It's hard to articulate because my goal has to do with being a clearer field so that I can help other people. That is what I really enjoy. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy helping people learn how to heal themselves, giving them the tools so they don't need to go to someone else. But also teaching people to connect with their own power. And so for me to do that, you have to have a really clear energetic field. And so all of these things for me work towards that. You know, all of the superpower stuff, I love just discovering it when it happens. Like, I never would have thought about giving someone a rash or turning water into chocolate if it hadn't been for Fazio, right? So that's so cool, right? And who knows how that could help others. Like, I'm always looking for, how does this help myself or help others? Like, how can this help others? I absolutely see how all of these things can be helpful to others. Imagine if you had very low self-esteem and then you found out you could stick a coin to the wall or move a paper from across the room. Suddenly your self-esteem is really high and you know that you are capable. And that is helpful. That's beyond just a party trick. That is profoundly transformative for the person doing it.
Yeah, well said. So it sounds like what you really want to do is like learn, or I meant teach people how to heal. And you think that's just obviously more important because obviously no one wants to be sick, right? Let's go back to your original, diagnosis and stuff. You listed all these illnesses that you had, like, so did it all happen at once? Like, is this something, did the doctor just tell you like, hey, like, you have this and this and this and that the other, like, at once, or are these all different things that they
They were
misdiagnosed?
all different things and they were all wrong. The only thing I was diagnosed with two things that were correct. One was rheumatoid arthritis when I was 35. And they said if I didn't take the medication that they wanted to give me, I'd be crippled by the time I'm 40. Well, I'm 62. And I did the Manitou incline climb in Colorado like two years ago when I was 60. I'm not crippled and I don't have rheumatoid arthritis anymore. It does not show up in my blood. I took care of it myself. I also was diagnosed with hypothyroidism and I did not want to take the Synthroid. And so I worked on my thyroid and that is no longer showing up. So those two things I fixed myself. All the other stuff, they told me and they were wrong. They were wrong, but imagine how stressed out you are as a patient when a doctor tells you that all of those things are death sentences, just about.
Yeah, definitely.
And one thing after another. But I look at it and say, oh, I had that experience. So I would be able to be compassionate and understanding and to help people in that same situation where they feel like doctors have failed them, the medical industry has failed them, And so, I think it was for a purpose.
You think it was your purpose to go through those dark experiences so that you can help people heal themselves, you think?
Yeah. I mean, why not? What's the alternative? Thinking that, I'm a victim. I don't want to be a victim. So
Yeah,
instead, I'll see the good that came out of it. And the good that came out of it was me really like dialing down into the medical system, follow the money, see what's happening, and then find other ways. And, some of those ways have been lost to it. I mean, we used to know, but, over time, media, if you follow the money, you realize everything's guiding you towards this main system. Why? Because big pharma, all of that. People profit from it. They profit
Right.
from you being well.
Right. I mean, can we talk about that a little bit? I love what you said about follow the money, and you can kind of see problems and stuff. And I know this is a very controversial opinion. There's wonderful healers, practitioners like you out there, but I know I get it. I get it when people say like we're not fans of the traditional medical industry, but frankly, I'm not a big fan of either. Like I'm honestly not even a big fan of the energy healing industry either. If I'm being totally honest with you, like I'm really, in fact, I don't know how you feel about this, unless they are with the right person, such as yourself, Nikki. Like I 100%, think you're legit, and like, all these other people that I'm connected with, within the small community, the healers like Dahlia, they're legit. I'm certain of it. But like there's a lot of junk out there, and I don't want to call out Reiki, but like, let's be real, like, and I'm from Japan. That's my culture, so I think it's fine for me to just diss my own culture. Reiki is a scam. Like, let's be real. Do you feel the same way? I mean, like,
okay, so here's how I feel. I feel like everything is monetized. The original Reiki, no, I think there's something to the original Reiki, but then you've got Holy Fire Reiki, Karuna Reiki, all the Reikis, because everybody just puts their own, pardon the phrase, stank on it so that they can sell it to someone else, right? And a lot of healers, I mean, they get a certificate because they went to a 3-day class and now they're a healer. Okay, so that's not the same. And let me just say this about the medical community. I'm very careful. I treat doctors as my consultant. So I'm paying you to be my consultant. That's how I look at them. And they don't like it, but too bad. But when, like, I had Morton's neuroma, which is a benign tumor in between your toes. And it's basically the nerve just grows this sheath, and it makes it feel like you're walking on broken glass. In order to stop that, I had to go get surgery. Well, I wasn't going to just energetically clear that. It did, I went and got the surgery. But here's what happened. I actually have the medical records to prove this. They said I'd be 6 weeks in the boot, and so I was like, it's Texas. I was in Texas. It's hot. I'm like, dang, 6 weeks in the boot. Well, that particular neuroma was right on the stomach meridian, and I know TCM. And so I worked with that. I went in for 6 days after the surgery. They clean the wound and x-ray you and everything. And I go in there, and the nurse opens up the boot, and she looks at my foot, and she's like, and she's like, I'll be right back. And I'm like, oh no. I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, what's wrong with it? And then she comes back with the doctor, and the doctor's got x-rays because they had x-rayed me. And he looks at it and he goes, huh? And I'm like, what, huh? Like, what's wrong with it? And he's like, oh, nothing. We can take your stitches out a little bit early. And I'm like, wow, that's great. Okay, cool. And he goes, and you don't have to wear the boot anymore. And I'm like, wait a minute. You said 6 weeks in the boot. And he's like, yeah, but your bones have knitted already. And he showed me the x-rays. And I was like, he knows what I do. He knows what I do. And I said, do you want to know what I did? And he went, no. And I was like, I'm not taking your job. You could help your patients heal faster. That's all it did.
Right. And yeah, there's, like I said, I'm not a fan of, well, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, you said, there's definitely a place for the medical industry. There's a place for the energy stuff. But let me just go back to and like vent a little bit about Reiki, because there's just a lot of problems. I feel like, first of all, if Mr. Usui Sensei, if Usui Sensei meditated for 21 days and fasted, why is that not the requirement to actually, like, why is the 3-day certification the requirement? Like, why is 21-day fast and meditation not the requirement to become a Reiki master? Like, that's the biggest problem I have with Reiki. And I don't really want to go any further, but I think most of my audiences are okay with hearing this, because a lot of my audience is like, a little bit more higher level understanding than like the average Joes, the new folks that are just, embarking on a spiritual journey. They're like Googling stuff and they're finding out Reiki and stuff, which is inevitably something you stumbled upon, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know. I can rant about Reiki forever, but personally, I think
I agree with you. I think there should.
If I'm being blunt.
No, I totally agree with you. It isn't meant to be a 3-day certification.
It's a money grab. I mean, let's be real. Reiki is a money grab. I mean, like it's became a money grab. Like, hey, I have this cool certification. Like, I'm a healer now. It's became a title more than anything. Like I paid someone. I have this title. That's what it is. Like I hate to say that. I really hate to say that about my own culture and like, about these wonderful healers out there. But like, that's what it is. And I mean, I'm sorry for being so blunt,
No,
I really think it's a big problem. Like when you rationally stop and think about it, I think it's kind of.
Well, it's not just Reiki that does that, though. There's
absolutely. There's other similar.
Right. Learn all and here's your certificate, and you did a little 6-day. All the stuff that I did was super intensive. Like I spent years studying reflexology, had to learn all the bones in the foot, had to do it wasn't just like here's your certificate. And I'm always a little wary when you go into somebody's studio or their place of business and they have all these certificates of every modality on the wall, and you're like, okay, so what do you really know, though?
Right.
What do you really put your life into? And your passion, what are you passionate about? 40,000 of these little 3-day seminars? Like, really?
No. Right. I mean, and then you obviously spent a lot of money, right, Nikki? I mean, you said that earlier. I mean, like, you can, like, I know, I'm sure you can resonate. All the meditations that you've done, the simple meditations with the binaural beats, probably taught you more about yourself, about the universe, how the world works, how reality works, more than probably some of the certifications you earned, don't you think?
My certifications were different because reflexology, herbalism, this was a whole different sort of thing.
It's a whole sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I did study under a healing program that shall not be named for several years, and that was very intensive. Though it wasn't. I mean, it was intensive, and you had to do clinical practice, so it wasn't just a one-off. But I do, I'm a Reiki master teacher. I've done pranic healing, I've done emotion code, I've done all those things just to explore it and see, what do I think about this? Like, how do I feel about these things? I don't really use any of that, to be honest. I really use the stuff that I learned from meditation, right? The stuff that came to me during that. And then I've been able to prove that it does work. And just getting my own energy to be as clean as possible, so that when I do send energy to someone for healing, it doesn't have to be Reiki. It's just energy. It's just Reiki. You're calling it something, but it's just,
right.
I mean, Dr. Usui, he meditated, he fasted, he was in the zone.
Right.
Okay. So I've spent all these years meditating, doing Qigong. I can get in the zone, and that's what allows the healing to happen. Right.
Well said. Yeah. And, like I said, it is, it is what it is. Like I said, I mean, there's flaws in everything. There's flaws in the medical field. There's flaws in the energy healing industry. I mean, like I said, it is what it is. And so, it is what it is. I mean, I don't know if I could change that, or any of us can change that. And I think as long as we live under this monetary system, we're always going to see flaws in things. And that's just how things are.
But just be, you have to use your discernment.
Right.
I mean, because people who are sick or even not sick, and they want, say, to learn telekinesis, right? And somebody, I mean, I've seen a lot of fake videos out there, you know, and people are like, oh my gosh, this guy, he's amazing. You couldn't possibly fake that. He's got like bottles with water in them and he's shooting them off the end of the, and I'm like, dude, you can fake anything. Like anything can be faked. Why is that guy not at the side games? Huh? Like I'm wondering why he's not taking his show on the road because he can't do it when there's, but yet you could work with him for a mere $555, which I hate that stuff too, the numbers that are the same because that's important. $555, you too could learn how to do that. But here, all they have to do is watch all of your interviews and they'll know how to do telekinesis. Seriously.
Well said. Yeah, well said. Or listen to that clip that I'll eventually cut out. I don't know when it's gonna be, but yeah, that was super cool. But I every time I talk about the fakers out there, everybody gets mad at me, and like, oh, like
really,
you're talking about so and so and that, aren't you, or something. I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity for me to say this. I'm gonna say this, guys. I know who the fakes are in the industry. I know because I've been in this industry for a long time. I know who the fakes are, and I know who the real ones are. I'm not gonna obviously say it out loud who they are, but like I know who they are. And like you mentioned the bottle people. I mean, I know who you're talking about. That's it is like I said, it is what it is. It's not my job to call these people out, but they are fakes out there. And on Instagram and TikTok and stuff, and some on YouTube. And they've been around for a long time, and it is what it is. It's just part of being human, and yeah, it's just welcome to reality, I suppose. Yeah, man, we got to talk about so many cool stuff, and it's always with high level practitioners such as yourself that we get to have this like in-depth cool conversations. I had a lot of fun today. Is there anything else you like to personally cover, Nikki?
Oh no, I mean, I have just thank you so much for having me on, and I mean, it has really been a pleasure to talk to you because like simpatico, like I totally agree with you, and it's hard to find people that I agree with.
Yeah, certainly. But like I said, it's if you're in the industry, and like if you're in the industry long enough, you kind of start to see the flaws, and you kind of start to see, like the problems and stuff. And it's only with like really like advanced people such as yourself that I get to talk about like a lot of these complex issues and complex concepts and stuff like that. But really, like we talked about, I think this could be the final message. It really doesn't have to be complicated. I mean, really just get into a relaxed state, meditate, and get into that flow state, and all things are possible, in my opinion. And so
yeah, all things are possible. And just because this is something I actually learned from my own health journey, and I think it applies to telekinesis and mindset and all of that stuff. I would, when I was taking care of my rheumatoid arthritis, I would read, somebody would be like, I did this thing and oh my God, it was gone. Right. And I would do it and I'd be frustrated because they'd be like, well, it didn't do anything for me. What's wrong with me? Right. But then I would do something else that didn't work for anybody else, but it worked for me. So when you're doing your telekinesis or your mindset or whatever else you're wanting to do, don't get discouraged if the spiral doesn't work for you. Discard it. Don't doggedly pursue it like, oh, this is what that woman said, so it must work, right? No, it works for me, and I hope that it works for a lot of other people too. But if it doesn't work for you, find what does. Like, seek what does work for you. Something will.
yeah, said okay. Well, thank you so much for this conversation, Nikki. So yeah, definitely check out Nikki's Instagram page below. And also, Nikki, what is your website called?
It's www.yourluckybee.com.
Yourluckybee.com. Yeah, wonderful website. Yeah, wonderful name. Yeah, definitely check that out. And yeah, Nikki really is amazing person. And, I heard so many amazing things that she can do and stuff from so many different people. And Nikki, I just want to say, keep up the great work. And I really hope that you continue to, make a difference in people's lives. So.
Well, thank you so much, Ken. I so appreciate you.
Awesome. Thanks, Nikki.